Okay. Is that what's happening right now? So you're switching the camera and it's kicking you out?
I probably think so. Let's try switching off the camera.
Okay. Try that and jump in audio live. Okay, I have you on audio live. Perfect. Go. And you're not muted. Perfect. You're good. Yes. So I have you both. So let's stay like this then off the camera on YouTube, and you can come on the camera a little bit later on. Okay. Samita, wow, what a journey, right? You landed before pandemic. So why that happened, how that happened, how did you come to Canada? Share the stories with so many listeners.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much, everyone, for showing interest to listen to what I have been through. And I promise I'll be super honest, no mincing of words or anything like that. I, Sweta, received my PR in 2019, but I had a lot of commitments back home. I'm from India, and professional as well as personal. So I just did a soft landing in the month of July, and I went back. And then I came back in March thinking that, okay, I have done everything I was needed to do. Now I can focus on my career and my journey in the new country. But I moved on 6th of March to be precise, and everything was shut down on 21st of March. That's like literally 2 weeks. And I didn't know. I mean, I was super confused. I couldn't find out what am I supposed to do, what will happen, because I had a plan, and of course the world was shut down, and the plan had to be changed, and I did not have a plan B because nobody in the entire world anticipated pandemic and what the effects are going to be. So yeah, that's how I landed in Canada with a story to share that I am kind of a pandemic baby.
So, I understand that you took some free services, funded services to go and work with the job strategy. How did that turn out?
Uh, Not a good experience. Let me just put it that way. Uh, it's not a good experience. You are not delivered what you are promised, first of all, and they want you to go through the same grind of doing the resume, doing the cover letter, and then applying. So that is something which anybody can do from their home computer sitting on LinkedIn, even if they spend an hour or so every day. That's precisely what you do when you apply for jobs outside of networking. So the free services, as they say, nothing comes free in the world. If they are free, they are not worth it. That's how I would define that. For me specifically, it was not worth it. It was a total waste of time, and I would advise do not go for it. Explore one if you want to see how it is, but do not have high hopes from them.
Okay, that's, you know what, and I'm not in the position to actually talk about what works, what doesn't work, but I do get a lot of clients who actually take on those bridging program and free services, and I feel like personally when I'm working with them, tell me if I'm on the right track here. I know that I work with you afters and the bridging program and everything, even though it's defined as a niche, it felt like it did not work with the mid-level professionals, like the branding perspective. How do you communicate on a resume to how do you address the areas of opportunities on interview, LinkedIn branding and everything? I personally felt like it was not catered to the mid-level professionals. What are your thoughts on it?
Sweta, I don't even think if they can cater to the entry level people, because let's look at recruitment in Canada. It is not only just you saw a job posting and you sent your resume and then you wait for what is happening. There is a lot of work which needs to be done at the background, which you have to do as the applicant, not anybody else. And there are a lot of other resource materials which will guide you better than these free services people. They will just keep on, from my own experience, they will just keep on bugging me. They'll just keep on sending me emails or calling me when I'm in middle of something. Oh, we wanted to know what's the progress, what happened. I'm like, hello, you are supposed to help me, not bug me. So kindly back off. I'll do it on my own time, and I'll do it the way I want to do it. And I don't want you to call me and message me or email me and ask me how is it going, and then take the credit that, oh, you know what, we guided her. No, you did not. So that's how I look at it. It might look like very negative, or not something which anybody wants to go through, but that's my personal experience, and that's what I can speak of. I know a lot of people who have shared the similar stories with me, that they have had this experience. So with newcomer services, yes, explore one, but do not waste your time or have high hopes that, it did not work well for me.
Okay. Now, what would be, if anyone from the newcomer services who work there, who are really trying to make an impact and help newcomers bounce back, what would be like, give me a couple of options they might have to train people like you, where you get the best experience ever and bounce back quite quickly? What are three top things they need to work on it to ensure that their programs are working, bridging program, any program they're trying to attract newcomers to?
See, for the bridging programs, the topmost thing they need to understand is there is a huge gap between what they offer and what is required. That's one. They For example, they would say, oh, you know what, let's do we are offering a program in project management. Now, project management in Canada is relatively different as compared to what it would be in other parts of the country. Same goes for most of the industries like banking or communications. Like if I talk about my own industry, communications is, I would say, 70% different as compared to what I used to do in India, or I used to do it in some other countries. But that's the starting point. First of all, you need to understand that there's a lot of gap there. What you are offering is not worth the time and effort of the people who are taking it, and then they are not even getting what they would like to get from those bridging programs. That's one. Secondly, tweaking the resumes and cover letters, that's also something which they offer. Now, there is a lot of information, and what they would say is can be quite contradicting to what is actually accepted in the industry. So that is another thing which I have realized, that that's confusing, and they need to work on that. Bring themselves up to the standards of the industry, what is required, and then networking as well. In terms of networking, I came across a couple of bridging programs where they said, oh, you know what, you can just message anyone you want to connect with and tell them that you would like to connect with. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. If I look at it from my own perspective, if today somebody sends me a message, hi, I would like to connect with you, and I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first question. Because as we all know that your network is your net worth. I don't want to have people in my network who do not contribute to my journey or my knowledge in any way. And I don't want to be in anybody's network where I do not contribute in a certain way. So the first question is, why would you like me to be in your network, and why would you like to be in my network? So you do not approach people that way. That's another experience, and I think these are the top three things which they need to really concentrate on and add value to people who are leaving their countries and relatives and life behind, and packing their bags and coming to a new continent to explore everything.
That's such a valid point. And I think, were those people, the program that you took on the free employment services or wherever you took it, we're not going to name them. Did you find that these people had industry experience? Were you assigned the right mentors? Were they in recruiting? Did they have a recruiting background? Any hiring background? Anything whatsoever that you were fascinated by?
Nope, they did not have any hiring background. They did not have even any experience in hiring even a single person, as far as I understand. They were working in the same industry in some XYZ position, but at the same time, Sweta, most importantly, they might consider themselves as mentors and say, oh, you know what, I have mentored XYZ person, or I am a mentor in XYZ organization. But they are not a mentor material. Everybody cannot be a mentor. Mentoring requires a certain kind of a skill set. So that's one. And secondly, they are so busy in their own professional and personal lives. They do not have the kind of time which a newcomer requires, the support and sometimes the empathy which a newcomer requires. Everybody is not strong. So there are some people who would look for those comforting words from that mentor, because when you talk to somebody on, say, twice a week, and you touch base on professional and what you've done professionally before and what you want to do professionally, moving ahead, there comes a certain kind of a personal touch. They're not able to provide that. They just look at it from a perspective, okay, I have to devote this. That's my personal experience. I had a mentor as well. He was like, this is what I have this half an hour with you. You tell me what you want. And I'm like, how am I supposed to tell you what I want? You should be telling me, because you are in this industry, and give me an overview of how it works and what I should be doing to make it right and get there. Don't ask me what I want. I would want the entire world to be mine. You know?
Mhm.
So that's the kind of experience I had, and I definitely do not look forward to these kind of mentoring sessions.
Okay. I remember you had a conversation briefly, and we're gonna go about that. And it's not about, like, it's not about putting all the newcomer settlement services in one bucket, because obviously I haven't worked with every client out there who's taken the services in all industry, but I know that there is definitely some gaps when it comes to free services. And let me get it out there for those people who are watching. If you think it's free services, it's not. It's our money. It's our taxpayers' money, and that needs to be utilized. And I work with so many clients where I'm trying to fix it, the gap. And Sumita, why did you eventually decide to go and then work with me?
Uh, Most importantly, Sweta, for me, the first conversation I had with you over LinkedIn, I still remember everything was shut down, and I was trying to have a plan B. And I was like, okay, let's see what LinkedIn has to offer. And I remember I had a session with you and one more person, and I decided to go with you rather than that one person was because you understood what I wanted. You definitely understood what my strong points are, like what my strengths are, though you wouldn't know what my weaknesses are. But at that point of time, but I felt that you understood what I wanted. That was the most important thing at that point of time, and definitely you came with a lot of experience in Canadian market, so you were in a position to gauge what the gaps are and how you would bring me up to the mark where I am in a position to start applying and bag the kind of work profile which I wanted. That was my main reason. You basically understood what newcomers want.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. And now I understand that you came from the content strategy world. We're working in the branding, and I remember your content going viral and trending and everything. I remember those moments when we're celebrating together.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a hell of a story, right? From somebody who didn't know how to write and what to write on LinkedIn to having viral content. Like, I think my 5 posts went viral in 1 week, and I was like, that is something. I think I am on the right track. Probably that's why it's happening. Otherwise, I wouldn't imagine myself having the content going viral back to back, and then I'm getting notifications in the morning. So yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. When it comes to LinkedIn and with content going viral, you need to understand what LinkedIn asks for. What are your skill sets? Like my strongest point is I can write really well. I can put that personal touch, that emotional story in there. We all have stories. It's not that we do not. Some are from personal, some are from professional. Some people do not feel comfortable sharing their personal life. I'm that person. I'm an ambivert. I do not like sharing my ultra personal experiences, but then you can always add that touch, and then um, people reach out to you when they relate to your stories somewhere, and then they reach out to you and you do end up having a conversation. It's not that you will counsel them, but adding that midas touch doesn't hurt. That's one. And I started networking with a lot of people, Shweta, on LinkedIn over my content.
Mhm.
And that's how it went viral. Like, I ended up having thousands of likes and uh, congratulatory messages and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, and I remember all of a sudden you stopped everything, and because you wanted to now move on to the world of banking, you wanted to try that luck. You got on the spot offer, and that didn't work out. Why not? What happened?
Yes, I attended an event. I went through their grilling sessions. Trust me, it was very grilling. Like, for a basic entry job, that kind of an interview was mind boggling. I was drained by the end of it. I was desperate. I'll be
Mhm.
very honest. I was desperate to get into a decent job because I was doing survival jobs until then.
Mhm.
I worked in call centers. I worked in work from home setups. I have also freelanced and I have worked in long term care homes as well. I was desperate to get into a decent job. And when you come to Canada, you see banking as a huge industry. But what people do not realize is that banking is pretty condensed in other countries, whereas in Canada, they have almost all the departments and they hire on in huge numbers, like right from finance to accounting to customer service and to HR and then to communications. So I had a plan that I would take up an entry level job in a bank and then move my way up to communications, because ironically that's what everybody around me advised. They said, oh, you know what, this is how you navigate your way in Canada. I'm like, okay, if this is the way, then this is the way we go about it. And I had that I won't name the hiring manager. She was nice. And we had that interview for 1.5 hours. And by the end of the interview, it gave me a migraine. And then she was like, oh, you know what? I would love to have you on my team. And I'll send you the papers. She did send me the offer letter and other papers. And I think that was 3 days after, and all these 3 days, I just kept on thinking, is this what I want to do? Forget about what people tell me about getting a job in my own field around me. Let me think on my own. Is this what I want to do? And the clear answer was no. This is not what I want to do. So what if I join and within a couple of weeks I am frustrated and then I'm like, forget about it. I don't want to do this. Why am I here? And then I start the grind of applying and networking with people again. So why not just push back and say, no, I don't want to do this, and I'll pursue what I want to do and wait for the right opportunity. And that's what I did. I refused the offer.
I remember that conversation. I think it was evening. You called me. You said, you know what? I'm working already, dealing with one bank, and I don't like where I am, and I'm miserable, and I want to go to a different top bank. I have offer in hand. What do you think? Because I was like, no, I already didn't want you to take any banking job. I know I've worked in the banking and I don't think you're made for that. I don't think you're the right fit for it. You're not going to like the environment. I know what you're trying to do, but by pivoting and changing the industry to climb up the ladder, it's going to take a time, and I feel like you're wasting your talent. And I said, if I were you right now, I would stop everything and restart it and building the transferable skills and go from it. And I'm so glad that we had that 1 hour talk in the evening and you declined. And then what happened with this job? You just got this job. Tell us a story about this job that you got. And obviously you're featured on CBC News as well with amazing story. Tell us about this job you are having right now.
For sure. I mean, I'm glad that I had that conversation with you because I didn't have anybody else here to have a heart to heart conversation and say what I wanted to say. You were the only person who was there and who dedicated that time to me to have that conversation and figure out if I'm on the right track or a wrong track. So I'll always be ever grateful to you. About this job, I owe everything to LinkedIn Sweater, to be very honest, because I strategized. Basically, the recruiter saw my posts, my style of writing, how I got in touch with people and everything. And he contacted me on LinkedIn through messages, and he's like, "Hey, I have this job opening. Would you be interested?" And I was like, I'll look at it later. I don't want to look at it right now. And I did reply to him, but his message was sitting in my inbox for quite some time. And then one fine day, I was like, okay, let's look what it is. And then instructional designing basically was already on my list as one of my job interests or work profile interests, because um, in the meantime, all this while, what I did was I saw what are the um, titles which are relevant to my skill set and what I've been doing all my life. That's content strategy and content specialist. So what happens is when you move to any new country, maybe it's UK. I have my post graduation from UK, so I certainly can speak about that. And even if I have quite a bit of experience in Dubai as well. So when you move to a new country, you take your skills along, you do not leave anything behind, but you need to find out what exactly the transferable skills are. And I might be called as a content specialist back home in India, but here I definitely can work as an instructional designer as well, because there are a lot of overlapping skills and transferable skills. So that's what I did. I had a list of job titles which were of interest to me, and which I knew that I could fit like 70 to 80%. You never get 200%. Let's be honest about that. So
Yeah.
even if you're 70 to 80%, it's a good match.
Of course, that's what we talked about it, right? Like, as long as
Yeah.
you qualify the role for the role, the mandatory requirement, you're good. I'm glad that you followed that.
Yeah, and don't forget that rest of the 20 to 30% you have to put in the work. This is not an industry, content or communications or marketing. I think that goes for almost all the industries these days. You can't be redundant. You need to keep upgrading your skills. Like, for if I talk about myself, I'm going back to school in 2023. I'll be taking up a course to enhance my skills in instructional designing, because that's what I like to do. I enjoy it, and I want to do it for the rest of my life. So yeah, that's how he this role came to me. And I had my first interview, which went well. It was a telephonic virtual interview. And then the second one, they sent me an assignment, because my work area is like that, and we are required to showcase our grammar and writing skills. So the assignment came through, and I remember I was really sick that day, so I just somehow put in my best foot forward and did it and sent it. And I just trust me, Sweta, the second interview was a breeze. The hiring manager spoke to me for like 15 minutes, and all she kept saying was, oh, I'm super impressed with your writing skills, I'm super impressed with your grammar. I was like, thank you, but what are we doing next? You know. So the desperation was there.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the job. But here is the interesting part. So they had actually asked me that what are your salary expectations, and in that at that point of time, I was so confident in myself. I was like, I am not going to take whatever the world throws at me. No, I know what my skill sets are. I know what I bring to the table. I know how I can contribute to the organization. I will negotiate if this is not what I want. And that's precisely what I did. And technically, after the second interview, the position went on hold. And I was so heartbroken. I was like, what? Is this really happening? And but still, like, according to my strategy, I just like, I think Thursday my second interview happened, and I gave it the weekend. And on Monday or Tuesday, I messaged the hiring person on LinkedIn saying that, hey, I'm just following up. If you have any feedback or comments for me regarding my interview. Of course, you can't be outrightly saying that, are you giving me the job?
That's right. You follow the follow-up step.
Yeah, so I just messaged him, and he's like, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. Your interview went really well, but the position has gone on hold. I was like, okay. I was really heartbroken, but I didn't show it to him, and I was like, okay, fine. Thank you. Let me know if it comes up again, or if you would need me in any sorts. So he's like, okay. And then this position was on hold for 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks, they messaged me again and they're like, hey, did you accept any offer, or are you still interested? I was like, I'm still interested because I'm still weighing a couple of offers. Trust me, at that point of time, during those 3 weeks, I already had received two more offers from two different companies and from two different industries, and one was a trucking industry. And
Nice.
they were precisely offering what I wanted in terms of salary and perks and benefits. But I had put them on hold because I wasn't sure and I wanted to explore further. And then these people got in touch and they projected an offer. They said, okay, the position has opened up again and the hiring manager really liked you and she would like to project an offer. I was like, okay, let's see. So they projected an offer at the base salary which I had given them, and I was like, really? You want me to come to you with a base salary? I said, I'm sorry, I'm not accepting this.
Mhm.
And then I precisely remember, Sweta, he told me, we are hiring one more person and we are hiring at the same salary. And I told him, sir, you might be hiring the same person at the same salary. He might not be knowing what he is, what I know. So please. I ended up telling him this and he was quiet. He was like, okay. I was like, I know what I'm worth. So you either give me more, or well, then you can look for another person, because I'm definitely not downgrading myself for I know I want the job, but not at what you're offering me, because I know I'm worth more. So then I think within a couple of hours, they had a discussion and they projected a new offer, which I accepted. And yeah, I've been with them for quite some time. Unfortunately, I had to say no to the other two companies, and one of the hiring managers from that company was so heartbroken. She kept on my LinkedIn profile, checking my LinkedIn profile where she has joined for a couple of months.
Was
And
she
then she called
lying
me.
or not? It was like maybe she was lying. Maybe now she knows that you're there. And I remember you telling me that why you chose that company. Tell people why you had a luxury of picking and choosing, and what took you, why you said yes to that particular company.
There were a lot of factors in there, Sweta. Uh, I mean, just sharing from my own experience, I kind of enjoy working on my own, in my own space. And most importantly, I look forward to the people I work with. So this hiring manager, my current manager who I'm working with, she is more of a guide and mentor, and that's what forwards you in your career.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the main reason I held on to this opening. I really wanted to join because I could see and I could gauge in that 15 minutes conversation that she is the kind of person who would support me in achieving my own goals,
Mm-hmm.
what professionally I have set up. Like, I had a flourishing career back home in India. I left everything and I came to Canada to start from scratch. So there has to be a bigger purpose. I didn't come here to do survival jobs and just survive with the meager salary which they are offering.
Mm-hmm.
So for that particular reason, I was very conscious and mindful of the kind of managers I wanted to work with, and she was one of the persons who I thought and found out, and that's true about her. She's a great manager. She supports, she gives you that free hand to work at as well, because this is creative work. You need a lot of free hand and time to creatively think. And then I'm working from home. I don't have to go to office, so that kind of takes away a lot of stress and misery away. So there were a lot of factors, and then instruction design is a recession-proof industry, and you grow and you learn
Mm-hmm.
in this industry, and you cannot be redundant. So I am a kind of a person who likes to work on different projects, and that's what it is about. I mean, our one of our projects gets over in like 3 to 4 months, and then you move on to the next project, so that kind of takes away the monotony of the job.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do good work, there are very few managers who would throw up their hands in the air and clap for you. My manager is that person. I just received my first review on Thursday from the client, and what he had written and the rating he gave me was, I was like, what, really? So I have a habit of second guessing myself, but people I think recognize more.
I know that. I know that about you. You are self-doubting. I think it's not you. I think a lot of newcomers I work through, they don't see potential in themselves, and someone has to just literally go and tell them you can do this, and then this is why you need really good mentor like a manager. And I'm so glad that you do the research the right way, and then you actually said, you know what, I want to work for that, because the manager could break or make your career. That's amazing. So listen, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your beautiful stories, because a lot of newcomers, they don't come in and share, listen, I struggle, listen, the program that I attended did not work for me, listen, this is what they can do. I think you're giving so much golden nuggets for those people who are trying to move into the Canada, and you're actually warning them, listen, this worked for me, this did not work for me. It's right. I'm not going to sit here and tell people, but I am going to bring people like you who are going to be very honest about like what worked, what did not work, where did you fail, where did you learn the lesson. And I'm so glad that you're giving it back to educate people who are literally thinking about moving to Canada. There's good, the bad, and ugly side of being an immigrant. So now, talking about before pandemic, talking about like, you know, before working with me, and now where you are right now, I can sense the confidence in you. I can feel it. How do you feel about yourself looking back?
As I said in CBC interview, Sweta, I wouldn't have my journey any other way. Honestly, it was it was hard. It was tough. At one point of time, if you remember the conversation I had with you when I was super desperate for work, a proper job in my own field, as they say it here in Canada, I was ready to pack my goals and pack my bags and just go back to India. I was done. I was so done. I did not want to give it a try. I used to float around my resumes ample number of times. Like I just used to sit on my computer first thing in the morning and just send, tweak the resume, send it, tweak the resume, send it, tweak the resume, send it. And still I wasn't even landing a single interview. I was so desperate that I used to think to myself, is this normal? Is there something wrong with me? What's going on? Why can't I even land a single interview? Like, give me that one interview. I will showcase my skills. You're not even giving me that one opportunity to, say what I have to say. There's nobody to listen to. And that was a year and a half back, I would say. And then my survival job specifically was taking so much of my time and effort by end of the day I was so drained, leave alone tweaking a resume and applying for a job. I did not have the energy to even speak to my family back home. It was that bad. So one fine day I just sat with myself. Just remember, I would say to everyone, you have to do a lot of talking to yourself to find out what exactly you want, because there will be a lot of unnecessary noise around you, people telling you 10,000 things, or you have to do the survival jobs and you can't land a job on your own, you have to do this, you have to do that. No, you don't have to. Find out what you want to do, I would say. So I had that conversation with myself that day, and I'm like, is this what I want to do? Is this what I'm planning to do for the next at least 5 years when we expect the economy to open? And the answer was no. This is not what you want to do. And I just took a month off from my survival job, and I relaxed mentally and emotionally and physically for a bit, like a week. And rest of the 3 weeks, I just heads on started applying for jobs, and that's when I got into what I wanted. So there is a huge difference from the person I was 2.5 years back and the person I am today, because I was listening to a lot of unsolicited advice around me, which did not do me any good. And I used my own emotional intelligence, and I found, like, figured out who are the people who can help me in understanding what exactly I need and how exactly I need to navigate that way, and build my own strategy. Because I always say that you might have come with a second person in the same plane with similar skill sets, with similar job profiles back home and similar education. But when you move to any new country, not only Canada, not only UK, not only US, but any other country as well, you will have a different journey as compared to the other person. So listen to what people say, but do what you want to do and what is good for you, not what other people think are good to you.
That's amazing advice. I love it. And this is why I provide one size does not fit all customized sessions. And I love it because this is exactly what I've been preaching. And thanks for validating that. And I just, it's on a YouTube channel. I showcased her CBC interview alongside me when CBC reached out to me and asked me, do you have anyone who landed in pandemic, and let us know. And then when I reached out to her, I said, I think you really have a good story. What are your thoughts? And she jumped in. Thank you so much for sharing your story, because I know it takes a lot, because people back home think that the money goes in tree, right?
Oh, no, it doesn't.
But then it doesn't happen. There are so many stories like you. And I thank you so much for coming in, sharing your really true stories and how you got here and how you pivoted quite strongly. And now you're ready to upgrade as well. And you've literally identified your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat.